It seems like every day, brand new Final Fantasy VII Rebirth information is coming out, and today is no different. We've got some brand new interviews from Naoki Hamaguchi, talking even more about the whispers and potential changes, as well as how to obtain the Platinum Trophy in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So please hit that subscribe button if you are repregnant for Rebirth, because I got a brand new update for you. This interview is done with publication Kakucho Pure, with Naoki Hamaguchi, the game's director, and in it, he had some really intriguing things to say. He was asked, can you explain the reasoning behind the unexpected playful tone in Sephiroth's lines during the demo? He had this to say: when we were working on the playable section in Nibelheim from 6 years ago, it wasn't just about Sephiroth. It also revolved around Cloud. We received various feedback and opinions regarding Cloud's character. Cloud is a character that's closely scrutinized, and Sephiroth, despite his formidable appearance, remains a human being. Thus, portraying Sephiroth during that period was a complex task. Furthermore, when it comes to Cloud, it's not just Cloud alone. It's a blend of Cloud's memories and Zack's memories. As you might have observed while playing the demo, our aim was to highlight this aspect. When we decided to create Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we had two main reasons. First, we didn't intend to change the story, but rather utilize modern techniques to bring out elements that players might not have noticed in the original Final Fantasy VII. This includes exploring the characteristics of Cloud and Sephiroth. The other reason was our awareness of the original story and the subtle differences that existed. We engaged with the fanbase to explore their expectations for the future, and their enthusiasm was palpable. The idea of change and anticipation is a central theme in this remake, encompassing both the remake itself and the intermission content. During the remake's development, we introduced the Whisper characters to make users contemplate the possibilities of future changes. Of course, the Whispers appear in this work, but we also introduced Zack. By having Zack in the narrative, we aim to provide users with insights into the evolving world and the game's future direction. This is the essence of the game's charm. The second reason for this approach is to introduce new elements and encourage users to consider how these elements might impact their experiences. This is a very loaded response because it, on one hand, is saying things will be quite the same, and then on the other hand, it's also saying that things are going to be quite different with the new elements. And that in fact, they created these new elements, such as the arbiters within the first game, to tease to you how they might change things going forward with the next two games. This can be really difficult to reconcile, as on one hand, it's kind of saying nothing's really different happening, we're just expanding on things that you already know. And then on the other hand, they're like, yeah, we're adding some new elements in here that are going to tease you about the other elements that we're going to be changing in the future. Likely this means that there is going to be some sort of blend between these new elements and the old elements, not too dissimilar to what the first game is like. And I think a lot of people like that balance. They find that balance exciting, and it offers them a lot of new surprises while keeping a lot of the nostalgic elements and a lot of the core aspects of the game in check. However, it does seem difficult to reconcile some of those differences, like the arbiters, like Zack, like changing Destiny, where Destiny seems to mean the original game's timeline, and what that means for the rest of the story going forward. That stuff is really interesting. And it's also kind of scary because we don't really know necessarily where they're going with all of it. So again, this kind of seems status quo for this team to be like, yeah, it's staying the same, but also look forward to how it's going to be drastically different too at the same time. Very classic CBU one with regards to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, completionists, you're going to want to listen up because they asked a very important question for you. Will it be easier or harder to reach the Platinum Trophy in this game? How do storytelling, world map exploration factor into this? Also, what features enhance player control and replayability in the game? Here is what Hamaguchi had to say. Obtaining the Platinum Trophy in this game is quite challenging, and it's by design. We put significant emphasis on storytelling and world map exploration, exceeding the game's volume compared to the previous version. To achieve the Platinum Trophy, thorough and comprehensive gameplay is necessary. This means not only mastering the trophies, but also embracing the broader elements of the game. In this remake, the world map and exploration add another layer of complexity. Players must collect materials and items, which can be quite demanding, but this isn't about just trophies. Even after completing the game, we've incorporated features that allow you to replay specific chapters. You can select the state of your quest, resetting cleared quest, or making past quests available again. We've given players more control and flexibility not only in terms of trophy limitations, but also regarding quest situations. Users can choose which quest situations they want to revisit, whether whether to return to quests they've completed or even reset quest altogether. Now, this is really cool. I love New Game Plus. I love chapter select. That's one of the best features of modern gaming, being able to go back to specific chapters in games. But you know, a lot of times there's a lot of cool stuff in side quests. There's also a lot of cool stuff just within like a specific area of a chapter or a specific story moment that you want to go back to. This is also really awesome for content creators like me who need to record footage of just like a really specific thing. We can now go back and we can replay that quest, or we can replay portions of that quest. That's awesome. I think that's really cool. I think that allows people to get full enjoyment out of the game. I think that's just an awesome feature. Also, for people that are just looking for more hours to get out of the game, it's good to know that the platinum trophy in this game is not going to be too easy. You're really going to have to work for this one, and you're going to have to explore every single inch of the world map, which I know many of you are going to want to do anyway. And it's just really exciting to know that they've packed in so much content into this game that it's going to take you a really long time to get through all of it. And hopefully it's all really good content. There isn't any padding of any sort. That was kind of a criticism of the first game, but hopefully the quests here feel very substantial. You know, particularly in the first game, a lot of the side quests were pretty heavily criticized as just being kind of meaningless, not really adding much to the world. Hamaguchi seems to be really in touch with the community, and I'm willing to bet he has heard the feedback on the first game side quests, and I'm hoping that they really knock it out of the park with this game's content. Now, there was another interview done with NMIA Gaming, and in it, Hamaguchi had something to say that absolutely terrified me. Here is what he had to say. When we first decided to do Remake, our primary concern revolved around the balance of revising the original game while preserving its beloved essence. Considering Final Fantasy VII's immense popularity among the fans, the challenge lay in determining which aspects to retain and which to transform. Communicating these changes to both existing old and new players was a formidable task, as we needed to ensure everyone understood what are the changes we made and what aspects remain the same in the game. It's not really an inspiration from the previous FF7 game, but there is one moment that made me clearly understand what to change for the remake of the game is when I watched a Disney animation and its corresponding live-action adaptation. Observing the live-action film, I witnessed how they meticulously navigated the fine line between what to alter and what to uphold, all the while safeguarding the core narrative of the original animation. This insight helped guide our approach to the remake, enabling us to strike a balance between respecting the classic and ushering in exciting new dimensions. Now, this sounds pretty terrifying. The Disney live-action adaptations have not been well received, and in fact, they're often used as a prime example of cash grab, nostalgia driven remakes that really aren't that good and don't contribute much artistically. So this was pretty worrying for some. However, to be clear, there is a specific movie that he's referencing here. Shout out to Gene for pointing this out, but he is referencing Beauty and the Beast, which was a pretty good live action adaptation out of all the Disney live action remakes. It was kind of the one that at least I preferred the most. So he is referencing Beauty and the Beast. I don't know how you guys feel about that one. I really don't think that movie really surpassed the original animation in any strong way, but I do think it was a pretty decent film for what it was worth, which is probably more than you can say about most of the Disney live actions. But again, our hope with Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, the Re-Trilogy, is that these games will surpass the original or will stand next to it. And maybe that's not possible, right? Maybe, you know, that piece of art really can only exist at that one point in time. And any remake that comes along, it's not really there to surpass it. It's really there to fulfill its legacy in a sense. I understand that point of view too. And again, if that's the case, I hope that the Final Fantasy VII Re-Trilogy is able to fulfill that goal as well. But please let me know your thoughts in the comments below about all of this. The intent to keep the game the same, but then also want to introduce changes that kind of make players ponder about what's going to happen next, as well as the difficulty of the Platinum Trophy and the Disney live-action remake inspiration. And I will see you all in the next video.